The blood on her handkerchief was getting harder to hide. Elara Moonstone pressed the white linen against her lips and watched it bloom red. Again. The third time this week. She stood in the shadows of the throne room's marble columns, invisible as always, while her husband, the man who was supposed to be her mate, walked past her with another woman on his arm. Alpha King Dante Blackthorn didn't even glance her way. "Did you see her?" one of the servants whispered near the doorway. "Standing there like a ghost." "5 years," another replied, voice dripping with pity. 5 years of marriage and he still won't touch her. Elara tucked the bloodied handkerchief into her sleeve and lifted her chin. She'd learned not to cry anymore. Tears changed nothing. The throne room emptied slowly, courtiers trailing after their king like he was the sun, and they were desperate for warmth. Lady Vivian's laugh echoed off the stone walls, bright, musical, everything Elara could never be. The woman's hand rested possessively on Dante's arm as they disappeared down the corridor toward his chambers. Not their chambers. Never their chambers. Elara had stopped sleeping in the Queen's suite 3 years ago when Dante made it clear he'd never use it. She'd moved herself to the abandoned East Wing where the cold seeped through the walls and the servants forgot she existed. It was better that way. "Your Majesty." She turned to find Kale, Dante's beta, watching her with those storm-gray eyes that always held too much sympathy. "The healers need more supplies," she said before he could ask if she was all right. She was never all right. "I'll check the greenhouse tomorrow." "Elara." "Queen Elara," she corrected softly. It was the only title she had left to cling to. Kale's jaw tightened. "He doesn't deserve you." "No," she agreed. "But the moon goddess paired us anyway." She walked away before he could see her hands shake. 5 years ago. Wedding night. Elara had worn white lace and silver thread, her dark hair woven with moonflowers. She'd been 19 and terrified and desperately hopeful that maybe, just maybe, her husband would look at her the way the romance stories promised. Dante had looked at her like she was poison. "Take off the dress," he'd said, his voice cold as winter frost. "We need to make this look real." Her fingers had trembled on the laces. "I thought." "You thought wrong." He'd turned his back to her, shoulders rigid beneath his ceremonial jacket. "Your father's betrayal killed the only woman I'll ever love. Serafina died because of the Moonstone Pack's treachery. So no, Elara, you'll never be my wife. You'll be my political necessity. Nothing more. My father didn't. Enough." He'd spun around, eyes blazing gold with his wolf's rage. "We'll sleep in separate rooms. You'll perform your duties as queen. But don't ever expect me to touch you. Don't expect me to want you. And don't expect me to love you." Then he'd walked out, leaving her in a white dress that suddenly felt like a burial shroud. She'd cried that night. She didn't anymore. Present day. Elara spent her mornings in the castle's eastern greenhouse where medicinal herbs grew in wild abundance. The head healer, an elderly woman named Mira, was the only person who treated her with genuine kindness. "You have a gift," Mira said, watching Elara's hands hover over a dying feverfew plant. The leaves perked up, color returning to pale stems. "Seer magic is rare." "It's useless magic," Elara murmured. She could see things others couldn't: curses, dark spells, death omens. Fat lot of good it did when no one believed her. She'd tried to warn Dante 2 weeks ago when the vision first came. She'd seen it during a council meeting, black veins crawling up his neck like poisoned roots, spreading toward his heart. Death magic. A curse so dark it would consume him from the inside out. He dismissed her with a wave of his hand. "My queen enjoys fantasies." The council had laughed. Only Kale had looked worried. Now, as Elara crushed lavender for sleeping drafts, she caught sight of Dante through the greenhouse glass. He was in the training yard, sparring shirtless with his warriors. Even from here, she could see them, those black veins threading beneath his skin, visible only to her cursed sight. He had maybe 3 months before the curse consumed him entirely. And he wouldn't let her help. "You're killing yourself," Mira said quietly. Elara's hands stilled. "What?" "The rejected mate bond." The old woman's eyes were sad. "I've seen it before. When an alpha refuses his true mate, both suffer. But the weaker one." She touched Elara's cheek gently. "You're dying, child." "I know." She'd known for months. The blood, the exhaustion, the way her wolf had gone silent inside her mind. The mate bond was like a noose tightening slowly around her throat. 3 months. Maybe less. "You could sever it," Mira whispered. "Leave him. Save yourself." Elara looked back toward Dante, watching him move with lethal grace, sunlight catching on dark hair and bronze skin. 5 years of loving a man who hated her. 5 years of hoping he'd see her. Really see her. "I can't," she said. "He's still my mate. Even if he'd never be her husband." That evening, dinner was a special kind of torture. The council had gathered to celebrate the 5th anniversary of the peace treaty marriage. Elara sat in her designated seat, 3 chairs down from Dante, far enough to make the rejection clear to everyone watching. Lady Vivian sat in the chair that should have been Elara's. Right beside the king. "Such a shame," Vivian said, her voice carrying across the table with calculated precision. 5 years and still no heir. One would think the queen incapable of performing even that basic duty. Several council members chuckled. Elara cut her meat with steady hands. She'd learned to eat while being humiliated. "Perhaps," Vivian continued, examining her wine glass with theatrical concern, "the king should consider setting aside this arrangement. For the good of the kingdom, of course." Silence fell across the table. Elara waited for Dante to speak. To defend her, even minimally. To acknowledge that she was his wife, his queen, chosen by the moon goddess herself. He said nothing. He didn't even look at her. "The law is clear," Kale said sharply from across the table. "The mate bond cannot be broken except by death or mutual consent." Vivian smiled. "Then perhaps." "Enough." Dante's voice cut through the room like a blade. But he wasn't defending Elara. He was bored. This conversation serves no purpose. He stood, offered his arm to Vivian, and left. The humiliation was complete. Elara excused herself quietly and fled to the east wing, to her cold rooms where no one would see her finally break. She made it to her bathroom before the blood came, coughing it up in thick, dark clots that splattered across white porcelain. The mate bond was killing her faster now. She had weeks. Not months. Midnight found her in the forbidden woods. She shouldn't have been there. The forest beyond the castle walls was ancient and dangerous, full of wild magic and darker things. But Elara had seen something during dinner, a flash of vision that sent ice down her spine. Dark magic. Being performed. Tonight. She followed the pull of her seer sight deeper into the trees, her wolf senses screaming warnings she ignored. Moonlight filtered through branches, casting everything in silver and shadow. Then she saw it. A cloaked figure stood in a clearing, hands raised, dark magic swirling like smoke around pale fingers. The air tasted of blood and rot. Elara's breath caught as she recognized the spell, a death curse, the same one slowly killing Dante. The figure was feeding it. Strengthening it. "Who are you?" Elara called out, stepping into the clearing. The figure went still. Then, slowly, impossibly, it turned. The hood fell back. Elara's heart stopped. Long black hair. Porcelain skin. Eyes like winter ice. Serafina. Dante's first love. His true love. The woman who had died 5 years ago. Except she was standing right there, very much alive, smiling like death itself. "Hello, little queen," Serafina said, her voice a poisoned lullaby. "Did you really think I was dead?" The world tilted. Elara's knees nearly buckled. You, how? Oh, sweet naive Elara. Serafina stepped closer, and the dark magic followed her like a living thing. Did you think it was coincidence? The curse on Dante? Your dying mate bond? All of it has been me. Every single day. Why? Serafina's smile turned vicious. Because he was supposed to be mine. Because your father's peace treaty stole him from me. Because if I can't have him. Her eyes glowed with malevolent power. Then I'll watch you both die slowly, painfully, knowing you destroyed each other. She stepped back into the shadows, her form already dissolving. 3 months, little queen. That's all you have left. Both of you. Her laugh echoed through the trees, wrong and twisted. I'll be waiting to collect what's mine. Then she vanished. Elara stood alone in the clearing, heart hammering, blood on her lips, the truth crashing over her like a wave. Serafina was alive. The curse was real. And no one would believe her. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 2. Elara returned to the Forbidden Woods at dawn. She hadn't slept. How could she? Serafina's face haunted every time she closed her eyes, that cruel smile, those words dripping with poison. I'll watch you both die slowly. The clearing looked different in morning light. Less sinister, more sad. Scorch marks blackened the earth where Serafina had stood, and the air still tasted of dark magic. Elara knelt, pushing aside dead leaves with trembling fingers. There. Half buried in dirt. A silver locket, tarnished and cold. Elara's breath caught as she opened it. Inside was a miniature portrait, Dante, younger, smiling in a way she'd never seen. And beside him, painted with delicate strokes, Serafina. You shouldn't be out here alone. Elara spun, magic flaring instinctively in her palms. But it was only Kale, stepping through the trees with his hands raised in peace. I'm not helpless, she said, harsher than intended. I know. He moved closer, his eyes tracking the scorch marks, the disturbed earth, the locket in her hand. But you're also dying, and you saw something last night that terrified you enough to come back. She should have lied. Should have brushed him off like she did everyone else. But Kale's gray eyes held something she hadn't seen in 5 years, belief. Serafina's alive, Elara whispered. Kale didn't laugh. Didn't call her crazy. He just nodded slowly, like he'd been waiting for someone to say it out loud. I know about your seer abilities, he said. I've known for years. Watched you heal the sick with a touch, seen you flinch when you look at Dante, like you're seeing something the rest of us can't. The curse. Elara stood, dirt on her knees, exhaustion in her bones. I've been seeing it for weeks. Black veins spreading through his body. Death magic consuming him from the inside. And he won't listen. He never listens. Not to me. She held up the locket. But this proves she's alive. This proves. Serafina's death was always suspicious, Kale interrupted. His voice dropped low, careful. The body was found in the river, bloated beyond recognition. We identified her by a ring she always wore. But I searched that river myself, Elara. I found the ring 3 miles downstream from the body. Like it had been placed there deliberately. Why didn't you say anything? Because Dante was broken. Kale's jaw tightened. He loved her. Worshipped her. When she died, he blamed your father, blamed the peace treaty, blamed you. He needed someone to hate more than he needed the truth. Elara's chest ached. 5 years of cruelty, 5 years of rejection, all built on a lie. What if she faked her death? Elara said. What if she's been out here all along, cursing us both? Kale looked at the scorch marks. Then we need to find out what kind of curse. And how to break it. The castle's library was 3 floors of ancient texts and forgotten knowledge. Elara had spent countless nights here over the years, reading about seer magic, about mate bonds, about ways to make a husband love a wife he was determined to hate. She'd never found those answers. But maybe she'd find these. Kale helped her search, pulling dusty volumes from the restricted section while Elara pored over handwritten grimoires that predated the kingdom itself. Hours passed. The sun moved across tall windows. Her vision blurred with exhaustion and blood loss. Then she found it. The Widow's Curse, she read aloud, her finger tracing faded ink. A spell of vengeance cast by a scorned lover. It binds an alpha to his rejected mate, draining both their life forces while slowly transforming the alpha into a mindless beast. The curse feeds on rejection, on hatred, on every moment the bond remains unconsummated. Kale leaned over her shoulder. How do you break it? Elara read further, her heart sinking with every word. Either the alpha must fully accept the mate bond before the transformation completes, or... She swallowed hard. Or one of them has to die. There has to be another way. There isn't. She closed the book carefully. Serafina designed this perfectly. Every day Dante rejects me, we both get weaker. The curse gets stronger. And when he finally loses himself completely to his wolf. She met Kale's eyes. He'll kill me himself. Then we make him listen. He won't. He. A crash echoed from somewhere in the castle. Then shouting. Then a howl that raised every hair on Elara's arms. Kale was already running. They found Dante in the west corridor, partially shifted, his eyes more gold than human. 2 guards lay unconscious against the wall. Furniture was overturned, tapestries shredded. And the black veins had spread. They covered half his neck now, crawling up his jaw like poisoned ivy. Dante. Kale approached slowly, hands visible. It's me. You need to shift back. Dante's growl was barely human. His claws had extended, his teeth elongated. The wolf was winning. He's losing control faster, Elara whispered. The curse is accelerating. Can you help him? He has to let me. She stepped forward, ignoring Kale's protest. Dante's gold eyes locked on her, and for a moment she saw recognition. Then rage. You, he snarled, his voice distorted. This is your fault. Your father's fault. Everything. I know you think that, Elara said softly. She was so tired of being afraid. Tired of hiding. But you're cursed, Dante. Serafina cursed you on our wedding night. She's been feeding it for 5 years, watching us destroy each other. Serafina is dead. She's not. I saw her last night in the Forbidden Woods. She's alive, and she's killing you. Dante lunged. Kale caught him, barely, the two of them crashing into the wall. Dante, stop. But Dante was too far gone. His wolf had taken over, all reason drowned in rage and pain and the curse's poison. It took 4 more guards to restrain him, to drag him back to his chambers while he fought and snarled and bled. Elara stood in the wreckage, shaking, watching them lock her husband away like an animal. This is how it ends, she whispered. He becomes a beast, and I die from a bond he'll never accept. Kale touched her shoulder gently. We'll find a way. But they both knew he was lying. She went back to the library that night. She couldn't give up. Wouldn't give up. There had to be something in these ancient texts, some loophole, some spell that could break Serafina's curse without requiring Dante's cooperation. Because he'd never cooperate. He'd die hating her first. The library was dark except for a single candle at her table. Elara's eyes burned as she read, her handkerchief spotted with fresh blood. The mate bond was unraveling faster now. She could feel it, threads snapping one by one inside her chest. You're still here. She looked up to find Dante in the doorway. He was human again, dressed in simple clothes, the black veins stark against his skin. But his eyes were clear. Lucid. And for the first time in 5 years, they were looking at her, really looking at her. I'm researching, she said carefully. The curse. He moved closer, and she forced herself not to flinch. Kale told me what you found. What you think is happening. It's not what I think. It's what I know. Dante was quiet for a long moment. Then he pulled out the chair across from her and sat, moving like every bone ached. The curse was eating him alive. Why? He asked finally. Why what? Why do you still care? His voice was raw. After everything I've done. Every cruelty, every rejection, every night I spent with another woman while you slept alone. Why are you still trying to save me? Elara's throat tightened. She'd imagined this conversation 1,000 times. Imagined screaming at him, hurting him the way he'd hurt her. But sitting here in the candlelight with death breathing down both their necks, she only felt tired. Because you're still my husband, she said. Even if you'll never be my mate. Something flickered across Dante's face. Pain, maybe. Or regret. Elara. A scream cut through the night. They both ran, following the sound to Lady Vivian's chambers. The door was open. Guards crowded the entrance. And inside. Blood. So much blood. Vivian lay in her bed, throat slashed open, her eyes wide and empty. The sheets were soaked red. And on the floor, clear as evidence, was a silver knife with a moonstone handle. Elara's knife. The one from her chambers. No, she breathed. Dante turned to her slowly. The lucidity in his eyes was gone, replaced by cold fury. You killed her. I didn't, I was in the library, I was with you. Guards. His voice was ice. Arrest the queen. Dante, please. You murdered my... He stopped himself, but the words hung between them anyway. My lover. My love. The woman who meant more than you ever did. Kale appeared, his face pale. Your Majesty, we should investigate. Investigate what? Dante gestured to the knife. The evidence is clear. She was jealous, unstable. She finally snapped. Rough hands grabbed Elara's arms. She didn't fight. What was the point? No one would believe her. They never did. As the guards dragged her away, she looked back at Dante one last time. The black veins had spread further. He had days now. Maybe hours. And she'd be dead before she could save him. The dungeon was cold and dark and smelled of despair. Elara sat on the stone floor, her thin dress no protection against the chill. Her cell was small, the bars silver, meant to hold werewolves. She could feel the metal burning her skin even from here. 3 months, she'd thought she had. 3 months to find a way to break the curse, to make Dante see reason, to save them both. She had hours now. By morning they'd execute her for murder. The mate bond pulled tight in her chest, then snapped another thread. She coughed blood into her palm, watching it glisten black in the torchlight. Fitting, she thought. They'd both die. Just like Serafina wanted. Then the vision hit. It slammed into her consciousness like a fist, images flooding her mind in violent clarity. Vivian's chambers. The mistress sleeping peacefully. A figure standing over the bed, knife in hand. Not Elara's hand. Serafina's. The vision continued. Serafina slashing Vivian's throat with surgical precision. Placing Elara's stolen knife beside the body. Smiling as she stepped back to admire her work. Frame the little queen, Serafina whispered to the corpse. And watch everything burn. The vision released Elara with a gasp. She collapsed against the wall, shaking, bleeding, knowing the truth and knowing it wouldn't matter. No one would believe her. Then Serafina's voice echoed through the dungeon, not real, but the vision's memory bleeding into reality. You're next, little queen. Elara closed her eyes. And waited for dawn. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 3. They dragged Elara to the council chamber at dawn. She hadn't slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Vivian's dead stare and Seraphina's smile. The silver bars had burned her skin all night, leaving angry welts on her arms. She could barely walk, her legs weak from blood loss and the mate bond's deterioration. The council chamber was packed. Every alpha from the surrounding territories had gathered for the spectacle. A queen accused of murder, it was the kind of scandal that drew wolves like blood in water. Elara was shoved to her knees in the center of the room. The stone floor was cold beneath her. She lifted her head and found Dante sitting on his throne, flanked by council members whose faces held nothing but disgust. He wouldn't look at her. The black veins had spread overnight. They covered his neck now, crawled up his cheek, disappeared into his hairline. He was dying. Maybe faster than she was. And he still wouldn't look at her. Elara Moonstone, Alpha Gren announced, his voice booming through the chamber. You stand accused of the murder of Lady Vivian Ashford. How do you plead? Not guilty. Her voice was steady. She had nothing left to lose. I didn't kill her. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. The evidence suggests otherwise, Gren continued. He gestured to a table where her knife lay, still crusted with dried blood. Your weapon. Your fingerprints. Your scent was found throughout the victim's chambers. I was in the library all night. Kale can. Beta Kale left you alone for 2 hours, another council member interrupted. More than enough time to commit murder. Elara's heart sank. She looked at Kale, standing near the throne. His face was anguished, his hands clenched into fists. He wanted to help her. But he had no proof. Why would I kill her? Elara asked. What would I gain? Jealousy, Vivian's mother spat from the gallery. The woman's face was ravaged with grief. Everyone knew she shared the king's bed while you rotted alone in the East Wing. You were jealous. Vengeful. You killed my daughter in cold blood. No. I would never. You have motive, Gren said. Means. Opportunity. Your own knife was the murder weapon. Because someone stole it from my chambers. Elara's voice rose. Someone framed me. Seraphina. The room exploded with noise. Seraphina is dead. The queen has lost her mind. This is an insult to her memory. Silence. Dante's voice cut through the chaos. He finally looked at Elara, and his eyes were empty. Dead. You dare speak her name? You dare use her death as an excuse for your crime? She's not dead. Elara was shaking now, desperation clawing at her throat. I saw her, Dante. In the Forbidden Woods. She's alive, and she cursed you. She cursed us both. The black veins spreading through your body, that's her magic. She's killing you. Enough of these fantasies. They're not fantasies. Elara struggled against the guards holding her. Look at yourself. You're transforming into a beast. You're losing control. In my vision last night, I saw her murder Vivian. I saw her place my knife beside the body. She's framing me so you'll kill me, and then the curse will consume you completely. I said enough. Dante stood, and the movement was wrong. Jerky. Like his body wasn't entirely his own anymore. You speak lies to save yourself. You always were a coward. The words hit like physical blows. Elara sagged in the guard's grip. What was the point? He'd already decided. They all had. Does anyone speak in the Queen's defense? Gren asked formally. Silence. Elara looked around the room at faces she recognized. Servants she'd healed when they were sick. Guards she'd treated when they were injured. People she'd helped for 5 years while their king ignored her existence. Not one of them met her eyes. She healed my daughter, someone finally said. But the voice was cold. Then she murdered an innocent woman. Whatever good she did doesn't erase that. She was always strange, another whispered. Too quiet. Too watchful. I always knew something was wrong with her. Betrayal tasted like copper and ash. Even Mira, the old healer who'd been kind to her, stood in the gallery with her head bowed. Silent. Kale stepped forward. Your Majesty, I request time to investigate. Denied. Dante's voice was flat. The evidence is clear. The council has deliberated. There's nothing left to investigate. But. Stand down, Beta. Kale's jaw worked. He looked at Elara with such anguish that she had to look away. He couldn't save her. No one could. Dante descended from his throne slowly, moving like every step hurt. He stood before Elara, and up close, she could see the curse's full damage. The black veins pulsed beneath his skin. His eyes flickered between human brown and wolf gold. His hands trembled with barely contained violence. He was days from losing himself completely. And he was about to kill the only person who could save him. Elara Moonstone, he said formally. For the crime of murder, I sentence you to death by silver poisoning. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Silver poisoning was the cruelest execution for a werewolf, a slow, agonizing death as the metal burned through the bloodstream, destroying from the inside out. You have anything to say? Dante asked. Elara looked up at him. At this man she'd loved for 5 years despite everything. This man who'd rejected her, humiliated her, broken her piece by piece. And something inside her finally shattered. I've loved you for 5 years, she said quietly. The room fell silent. I've protected your kingdom. Healed your people. Warned you about the curse eating you alive. I've endured your cruelty, your rejection, your hatred. I've watched you parade other women through halls that should have been ours. I've bled for a mate bond you refused to accept. I'm dying, Dante. The bond is killing me. And you don't even care. His expression didn't change. So if killing me will finally free you from your hatred, she continued, her voice breaking. If executing me for a crime I didn't commit will give you peace, then do it. At least then I'll stop loving a man who's incapable of loving me back. For a moment, just a heartbeat, something flickered across Dante's face. Pain. Regret. Doubt. Then it was gone. Proceed, he told the guards. They forced Elara to her knees. A healer approached with a silver syringe, the metal gleaming wickedly in the torchlight. Elara could smell it, acrid and poisonous, designed to kill slowly. The needle pierced her arm. Silver flooded her bloodstream like liquid fire. Elara screamed. She couldn't help it. The pain was beyond anything she'd imagined, burning through her veins, scorching her from the inside. Her wolf howled in agony, thrashing against the poison. The mate bond snapped another thread. Then another. And Dante collapsed. He went down hard, his body convulsing. The black veins exploded across his skin, covering his chest, his arms, spreading like wildfire. His eyes rolled back. Then his wolf surged forward with a roar that shook the walls. The transformation was wrong. Dante's shift was always graceful, controlled. This was violent. Monstrous. His bones cracked and reformed at angles that shouldn't exist. His fur came in patchy and dark, threaded with black veins that pulsed with curse magic. When he finally stood on 4 legs, he was massive, easily twice the size of a normal wolf, with eyes that flickered between gold and pure black. The beast that wore Dante's face turned toward the council. And attacked. Chaos erupted. Alphas shifted, guards drew weapons, people screamed and ran. But the beast was unstoppable. It tore through guards like paper, its jaws crushing silver weapons, its claws leaving devastation in their wake. Elara tried to move, but the silver in her veins had paralyzed her. She could only watch as the beast, her mate, destroyed everything in its path. Then it turned toward her. Those black gold eyes locked on her prone form. Saliva dripped from fangs designed to kill. Every instinct screamed at her to run, but she couldn't move. Could barely breathe. The beast stalked closer. "Dante," she whispered. "Please. It's me." The beast's massive head lowered, sniffing her. Its hot breath washed over her face. Then, impossibly, it grabbed the chain connecting her wrist shackles and pulled. The silver chain snapped like thread. Before anyone could react, the beast grabbed Elara by the back of her dress, gentle despite its size, and bolted. It crashed through the chamber doors, bounded down corridors, and burst into the courtyard as dawn light broke over the castle walls. Guards tried to stop it. The beast simply ran through them. It carried Elara into the forbidden woods, moving faster than should be possible. Branches whipped past. The world blurred. Elara's consciousness flickered as the silver burned deeper, but she felt the beast's careful grip, the way it cradled her despite its monstrous form. Then darkness swallowed her whole. Pain woke her. Elara's eyes fluttered open to cold stone and dim light. A cave. She was in a cave, lying on something soft, someone's cloak. Her arm throbbed where they'd injected the silver, the veins around the injection site black and necrotic. She was dying. Faster now. Movement in the shadows made her tense. The beast emerged into the light, and Elara's breath caught. It was still massive, still covered in those pulsing black veins. But its eyes, they flickered. Gold to black. Gold to black. Like two souls fighting for control of one body. Dante and the curse. Locked in eternal battle. The beast made a low sound. Not quite a growl. Almost a whimper. "Dante?" Elara tried to sit up. The silver made her scream. The beast was at her side instantly, its massive head nudging her gently back down. Careful. So careful despite claws that could disembowel with a swipe. You saved me," Elara whispered. "Why?" The beast couldn't answer. It couldn't speak in this form, maybe couldn't even think clearly. But it lay down beside her, its warmth seeping into her frozen body, and those eyes never stopped flickering. Gold. Black. Gold. Black. Fighting. Always fighting. "I don't understand," Elara said. Tears tracked down her face. "You hate me. You were going to kill me." The beast's eyes flashed pure gold for just a second. And in that second, she saw him. Dante. Her mate. Looking at her with something that might have been regret. Then the black returned, and the beast turned away, positioning itself at the cave entrance like a guard. Protecting her. Even as the curse consumed him. Even as the silver poisoned her. He was protecting her. Elara's hand trembled as she touched the mate bond. It was barely there now, threads so thin they'd snap in a strong wind. But it was there. Still connecting them. Still trying to save what they'd both destroyed. She closed her eyes, silver burning through her veins, and wondered which of them would die first. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 4. The silver was eating Elara alive. She woke to agony, black veins spreading from the injection site, crawling up her arm like poisoned roots. Her skin had taken on a grayish pallor, and when she coughed, blood spattered across the stone floor. 3 days. Maybe 4. That's all she had left. The beast lay curled at the cave entrance, its massive form silhouetted against pale morning light. Its eyes tracked her every movement, flickering that constant battle between gold and black. Dante was still in there somewhere. Fighting. "I need to get the silver out," Elara said, her voice hoarse. She wasn't sure if he could understand, but talking to him felt better than dying in silence. "Or it'll kill me faster than the mate bond." The beast's ears flicked forward. Listening. Elara dragged herself upright, biting back a scream. Her seer magic was fading, but she could still sense the forest's energy. There were herbs out there, bloodroot, feverfew, moonwort. Plants that could draw poison from wounds. She tried to stand. Her legs gave out immediately. The beast was beside her in an instant, its hot breath on her face, those eyes flickering with something that looked like panic. "I'm okay," she lied. I need to find herbs. To heal myself." The beast made a sound deep in its chest, half growl, half whimper. Then it turned and disappeared into the forest. Elara waited, shivering on the stone floor. The cold was getting worse. Or maybe she was just dying. 10 minutes later, the beast returned with its massive jaws full of plants. It dropped them at her feet carefully, bloodroot, feverfew, even a rare strand of moonwort that only grew in the deepest parts of the forbidden woods. Exactly what she needed. "You understood," Elara whispered. Tears blurred her vision. "You're still in there." The beast's eyes flashed pure gold for a heartbeat. Then black swallowed them again. Extracting silver from your own bloodstream without proper tools was a special kind of torture. Elara crushed the herbs between stones, mixing them with water the beast had brought in a stolen bucket. Her hands shook so badly she could barely work, but she forced herself to continue. The paste had to be perfect, too weak and it wouldn't draw the poison, too strong and it would burn through healthy tissue. "My mother taught me healing magic," she said as she worked. The beast lay nearby, watching intently. "Before she died, she made me memorize every herb, every remedy. Said a seer who couldn't heal was only half useful." The paste was ready. Elara pulled up her sleeve, revealing the blackened flesh around the injection site. The silver had spread faster than she'd thought, the veins were already past her elbow. She bit down on a strip of leather and applied the paste. The pain was blinding. Silver and medicine warred beneath her skin, burning and freezing simultaneously. Elara screamed through the leather, her body convulsing. The beast leaped to its feet, hackles raised, a protective growl rumbling through the cave. "I'm okay," Elara gasped when she could speak. "It's working. It's..." She vomited blood across the cave floor. The beast's anguished howl echoed through the forest. Time became fluid after that. Elara drifted between consciousness and fever dreams while her body fought the silver. The beast never left her side. It brought water, carried prey it had killed, rabbits, deer, though Elara could barely eat. When she shivered with cold, it curled around her, sharing its warmth. When she woke screaming from nightmares, it pressed its massive head against her chest until her breathing slowed. "You were always meant to be kind," Elara murmured during one lucid moment. She stroked the beast's fur, feeling the curse's magic pulse beneath. "Before Serafina. Before the hate. I wonder what you would have been like if she'd never touched you." The beast's eyes flickered. "Gold. Black. Gold. I'll tell you a story," Elara said. She was so tired. "My mother used to sing me to sleep with old songs. Songs about the moon goddess and her first children." She sang, her voice cracked and broken but carrying through the cave. "Silver light and shadow deep, two souls bound while others sleep, fate's thread woven, strong and true, one heart split and made of two." The beast made a sound she'd never heard before, almost like a sob. Its massive body shuddered, and for a moment, the black veins receded slightly. The curse was weakening. Just a fraction. Just enough to give her hope. On the third day, infection set in. Elara woke to fever and delirium. Her arm had swollen to twice its size, the flesh hot and angry despite the healing paste. She'd gotten most of the silver out, but not all. What remained was festering. She was going to die here. In a cave. Alone except for a beast who used to be her husband. "Dante," she whispered. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry I couldn't save you." The beast went wild. It paced the cave frantically, claws scraping stone, that awful howl building in its chest. Then it did something that should have been impossible, it spoke. Not words. Just a sound. Her name, mangled and distorted through a wolf's throat, but unmistakable. Elara. She was hallucinating. Had to be. Then the beast lowered its massive head to her infected arm and licked. Werewolf saliva had healing properties, every wolf knew that. But in beast form, the magic was stronger, more potent. The beast licked her wounds with desperate thoroughness, whimpering as it worked. The infection began to recede. The swelling went down. Black veins slowly faded to gray, then pink. The healing was working. But the beast was crying. If wolves could cry, it was crying, low, anguished sounds as it licked her wounds clean, its eyes flickering so fast between gold and black that they looked almost gray. "Thank you," Elara breathed. "Thank you, Dante." The beast collapsed beside her, exhausted from fighting the curse long enough to help her. Its breathing was labored, its massive body trembling. The black veins pulsed darker than ever. Saving her was killing him. The fevered dreams came that night. Elara fell into darkness and found herself in someone else's memories. Dante's memories. She saw through his eyes, a younger version of him, standing in a garden. Beautiful and hopeful and not yet broken. Then Serafina appeared. She was stunning, dark hair cascading down her back, winter blue eyes, a smile that promised everything. She handed young Dante a cup of wine, her fingers brushing his. "Drink with me," memory Serafina purred. "To new beginnings." He drank. Elara felt the magic in that wine, love potion, obsession spell, glamour enchantment. All woven together in a cocktail of dark magic designed to enslave. Dante never stood a chance. The memory shifted. Years passed in heartbeats. Dante and Serafina together, always together, his devotion unnatural in its intensity. He couldn't think clearly around her, couldn't see past her beauty to the manipulation beneath. Then came the night of her death. Elara watched through Dante's eyes as he found Serafina's body by the river, bloated, unrecognizable. A messenger arrived with news of the Moonstone Pack's betrayal, of a plot to kill Serafina to prevent Dante's alliance with her family. But then the memory fractured. Elara saw what Dante couldn't see, couldn't remember. Serafina alive and smiling, placing her ring downstream from another woman's corpse. Serafina meeting with hooded figures who reeked of dark magic. "Frame the Moonstone Alpha," memory Serafina said. "Force Dante into a peace treaty marriage with that pathetic seer girl. And when he rejects her, when he hates her, the curse will feed on their broken bond until they both die. Then I'll return. Claim what's mine." The memory shifted again, their wedding night. Elara felt Dante's internal war. Part of him recognized the mate bond, knew Elara was his true mate. But Serafina's magic was still there, wrapped around his heart like chains. The love potion made him see Elara as an enemy, made him cruel when every instinct screamed to claim her. "You'll never be my wife," memory Dante said. But beneath those words, Elara felt his real thoughts. "Help me. Something's wrong. Why can't I love you when I'm supposed to?" The curse had been cast that night. Woven into his hatred, feeding on rejection, growing stronger every day. Serafina had planned everything perfectly. Elara woke with clarity for the first time in days. "The curse was cast on our wedding night," she said aloud. The beast lifted its head, those eyes focusing on her. "Serafina cursed you to never love me, to reject the true mate bond. She made you hate me so we'd both die. And when we were gone, she'd return and take your throne." The beast's eyes flashed gold. Stayed gold. For 30 seconds, maybe a minute, Dante was present. Fully present. He couldn't speak, couldn't shift back. But those gold eyes held recognition, understanding, and devastating regret. "It wasn't your fault," Elara whispered. "None of it was your fault." Then the black consumed his eyes again, and the beast turned away, trembling with the effort of fighting. They didn't have much time left. Either of them. Kale found them on the fourth day. Elara heard footsteps and voices approaching the cave. The beast immediately positioned itself in front of her, protective, a warning growl rumbling through its chest. Elara. Kale's voice echoed through the forest. Dante. I know you're here. The beast didn't attack when Kale appeared at the cave entrance. It recognized the beta, though its hackles remained raised. Kale took in the scene, Elara dying on the floor, the massive cursed beast standing guard, and his face fell. It's worse than I thought, he said. What's happened? Elara's voice was weak. Serafina. Kale's expression was grim. She appeared at the castle 2 days ago, claiming to have been miraculously healed from her near-death experience. Said she'd been in a coma, just woke up. The council believes her. Of course they do, Elara said bitterly. She's claiming you used dark magic to drive Dante feral. Says you cursed him out of jealousy. The council has declared you both traitors. Kale met her eyes. She's positioning herself as the rightful queen. And she's winning. The beast snarled, black veins pulsing. There's more, Kale continued quietly. She's performing a coronation ceremony tomorrow night. If she completes it, she'll take Dante's alpha power permanently. She's convincing everyone that with Dante gone, she's the kingdom's only hope. Elara forced herself to sit up despite the pain. We have to stop her. How? You can barely stand. And Dante. Kale gestured helplessly at the beast. He's not coming back from this. He's still in there. Fighting. Even if he is, you'll both be executed on sight. Every guard in the kingdom is hunting you. Then I'll go alone. Elara struggled to her feet, using the cave wall for support. The world tilted dangerously. I'll face her. End this. The beast moved to block the cave entrance. Dante, move. The beast didn't budge. Its eyes flickered desperately, gold, black, gold, but its massive body stayed firm. I have to do this, Elara said. Tears streamed down her face. If I don't, she wins. She kills us both anyway, and she destroys your kingdom. At least this way, I have a chance to stop her. The beast whimpered, pressing closer to the entrance. I know you want to protect me, Elara continued. She laid her hand on the beast's massive head, feeling the curse pulse beneath her palm. You've protected me these 4 days. You fought so hard. But I need you to trust me now. One last time. The beast's eyes locked on hers, pure gold, just for a moment. If you can hear me in there, Dante, Elara whispered. I need you to let me go. I need you to trust me one last time. The gold held. Held. Then the beast slowly, agonizingly, stepped aside. Elara stumbled past it into the forest, Kale catching her before she fell. Behind them, the beast threw back its head and howled, a sound of pure anguish that echoed through the forbidden woods like a prophecy of doom. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 5. This will kill you, Kale said flatly. Elara knelt in the clearing outside the cave, drawing symbols in the dirt with trembling fingers. The beast paced behind her, agitated, sensing what she was about to do. I'm already dying, she replied. At least this way, it means something. The ritual was ancient, forbidden, a seer's last resort. She would use what remained of her life force to temporarily suppress the curse, giving Dante perhaps 24 hours of lucidity. Maybe less. It would cost her everything she had left. There has to be another way, Kale argued. There isn't. Elara finished the final symbol, a complex knot of lines representing the mate bond. Serafina's ceremony is tonight. If we don't stop her, Dante loses his alpha power forever. The kingdom falls. And we both die anyway. She looked up at the beast. Those eyes flickered constantly now, the curse consuming more of him every hour. At least this way, Elara whispered, I get to see him one last time. The real him. She placed her hands on the symbols and closed her eyes. The magic came sluggishly, her seer abilities nearly depleted. But she pulled from deeper reserves, from the mate bond itself, from 5 years of unspoken love, from every moment she'd survived when she should have broken. She poured it all into the spell. Light erupted from the symbols, silver and blinding. The beast roared as the magic wrapped around it like chains, forcing the curse back, drowning the darkness in moonlight. Elara felt her life force draining away, a river flowing out of her, unstoppable. Worth it. It was worth it. The light faded. Where the beast had stood, Dante knelt naked in the dirt, human again. And Elara collapsed. Elara. Hands caught her before she hit the ground. Warm, calloused, achingly familiar. Dante's hands. No, no, no. His voice cracked. What did you do? What did you do? Elara opened her eyes. It took effort, everything took effort now. But she needed to see him. Really see him. Dante stared down at her with horror and clarity in his brown eyes. No gold. No black. Just him. Hey, she whispered. Don't. He was shaking. Don't pay me. You're dying. His eyes tracked over her body, taking in the silver scars on her arm, the grayish pallor of her skin, the way she could barely breathe. What have I done? Not your fault. Each word cost her. Curse. Serafina. I remember. Dante's face twisted with anguish. I remember everything. The cave. The trial. 5 years of, he choked on the words. I destroyed you. I destroyed us. Kale cleared his throat. We don't have time for this. Make time, Dante snarled. Then, gentler, Elara, I'm so sorry. I was a fool. I let hatred blind me. Serafina was never my true mate. You were. You always were. And I destroyed you. Elara touched his face with trembling fingers. I know. I saw your memories. The love potion. The curse. None of it was real. But the pain I caused was real. The cruelty. The rejection. I can never. We don't have time for regrets. Elara forced steel into her voice. Serafina is taking your throne. She's performing the coronation of blood tonight. We end this, Dante. Tonight. He looked at her, really looked at her, and something shifted in his expression. The guilt remained, but beneath it rose something harder. Determination. Tell me everything, he said. They planned in the cave while Dante dressed in clothes Kale had brought. The blood moon rises at midnight, Kale explained. Serafina's convinced the council that the ceremony will cleanse the kingdom of dark magic. They think she's saving them. When really she's stealing my alpha power, Dante said grimly. The black veins were already starting to reappear on his skin, faint but growing. The ritual had bought them hours, not days. How do we stop her? Elara asked. Kill her, Dante said simply. Break whatever anchor she's using for the curse. Probably an amulet or a crystal pendant, Elara interrupted. I saw it in my vision. She wears it around her neck. Then we destroy it. Dante met her eyes. And we do it together. You can't be serious, Kale protested. Elara can barely walk. And you have maybe 12 hours before the curse takes over again. Which is why we're not wasting time arguing. Dante stood, offering Elara his hand. Can you walk? She took his hand, let him pull her up. Her legs shook, but she stood. I can do whatever I need to do, she said. For the first time in 5 years, Dante smiled at her. Really smiled. That's my queen. They entered the castle through passages Kale had used for years, secret tunnels built during wartime, long forgotten by everyone except the beta. Elara wore a hooded cloak that hid her face and hair. Dante moved like a shadow beside her, his presence both comforting and heartbreaking. Every moment with him Lucid felt stolen, precious. "The servants are talking," Kale whispered as they crept through a narrow corridor. "Serafina's been collecting people." "What do you mean?" Dante asked. "Lady Vivian wasn't her first victim. There have been others. Minor pack members who disappeared over the past months. Everyone assumed they'd left the kingdom." Kale's voice dropped. "She's been draining their life force. Storing it for tonight's ritual." Elara felt sick. "How many?" "At least a dozen." Dante's hands clenched into fists. The black veins pulsed darker. "She's been planning this for years. Since before she faked her death." They emerged in a storage room near the throne room. Through the walls, they could hear chanting. The ceremony had already begun. "We need to see what we're dealing with," Dante said. They crept to a hidden alcove that overlooked the throne room. What Elara saw made her blood run cold. The room was packed with council members and pack leaders, all standing in perfect rows, their eyes glazed and empty. Under a spell. At the center, Serafina stood on a raised platform wearing a crimson dress that looked like fresh blood. Around her neck, a crystal pendant pulsed with dark magic. And scattered around the platform were glass vials filled with glowing essence, the stolen life force of her victims. "The coronation of blood," Kale breathed. "She's going to consume all of it. Become something more than Alpha. She's going to become a god," Elara realized. "That's what this is. She's not just stealing Dante's power. She's ascending." Serafina's voice rose, chanting in a language older than the kingdom. The pendant glowed brighter. The vials began to crack. "We're out of time," Dante said. "We go now." "Wait." Elara grabbed his arm. "If we just charge in, she'll kill us. We need a plan. The plan is I distract her while you destroy the pendant." "That's not a plan. That's suicide." "I don't care." Dante turned to face her fully. "I've wasted 5 years, Elara. I won't waste another second. If I die stopping her, at least I die knowing I finally fought for the right person." "You're not dying," Elara said fiercely. "Neither of us is. We're ending this together, and then we're fixing what she broke. Deal?" Something warm flickered in Dante's eyes. "Deal." Kale handed them weapons, silver daggers for Dante, a spelled blade for Elara that would cut through magical barriers. "On 3, Dante said. "Wait." Elara grabbed his face and kissed him. It was brief, desperate, 5 years overdue. When they pulled apart, Dante looked stunned. "For luck," Elara whispered. "We're going to need it," Kale muttered. 3, Dante said. They burst through the throne room doors. Serafina didn't look surprised. She looked delighted. "Right on time," she purred, her voice echoing through the spelled silence. "I was wondering when you'd arrive." The council members didn't react. Didn't move. Their glazed eyes stared at nothing. "Let them go, Serafina," Dante commanded. His voice carried alpha authority, but Elara could see the black veins spreading faster now. Minutes. They had minutes. "Why would I do that?" Serafina smiled, beautiful and terrible. "They're witnesses to my ascension. They'll remember the moment I became their true queen." "You were never queen," Elara said. She stepped forward despite her shaking legs. "You were a parasite. A manipulator. Everything you are is built on lies." Such brave words from a dying girl. Serafina's eyes tracked over Elara with mock sympathy. "Look at you. The rejected queen, poisoned and broken. Did you really think you could stop me?" "Yes," Elara said simply. Serafina laughed. How delightfully naive. You see, I needed you to come. The ritual requires one final ingredient. Her smile turned vicious. The rejected queen's blood to complete the spell. Elara's heart sank. Did you think I'd leave anything to chance? Serafina continued. Every move you've made, I've anticipated. Every choice I've manipulated. Even now, you're playing exactly into my hands. Like hell, Dante snarled. He lunged forward. Kale moved faster. The beta's blade flashed silver as it slammed into Dante's side. Not deep enough to kill. Just enough to stop him. Dante stumbled, blood blooming across his shirt, staring at Kale with betrayed shock. Kale? Elara breathed. The beta's eyes were glazed. Empty. Under Serafina's control. Oh, did I forget to mention? Serafina's laugh was cruel. Your loyal beta has been mine since the beginning. Such a useful spy. He told me everything, your plans, your weaknesses, when you'd make your move. No, Elara whispered. Kale wouldn't. He didn't have a choice. Serafina snapped her fingers, and Kale moved to stand beside her like a puppet. I've been in his mind for months. Did you really think you had any allies left? The pendant around her neck pulsed brighter. The vials of stolen life force began to rise, circling her like planets around a dark sun. Now then, Serafina said, her eyes glowing with power. Let's finish what I started 5 years ago. Hold them, Kale. The beta moved with inhuman speed, grabbing both Dante and Elara before they could react. His grip was iron, unbreakable. Serafina descended from the platform, the pendant blazing. The rejected queen's blood, she murmured, producing a ceremonial knife. And the dying Alpha's power. Combined, they'll make me unstoppable. She approached Elara with the blade raised. Any last words? Serafina asked sweetly. Elara met Dante's eyes across the space between them. Saw the desperation there, the rage, the love he'd finally admitted too late. Yes, Elara said. Just one. She smiled. Now. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 6. The now wasn't for Serafina. It was for the spelled blade hidden in Elara's sleeve, the one she'd kept concealed, waiting for exactly this moment. She twisted in Kale's grip and drove the blade backward into his thigh. The spelled metal burned through Serafina's mind control like acid through silk. Kale's eyes cleared. He released them with a gasp, stumbling back. What? He didn't get to finish. Serafina's scream of rage shook the throne room. She flung her hand out, and shadows exploded from the walls, witches, at least a dozen of them, materializing from dark corners where they'd been waiting. The Shadow Coven. Kill them. Serafina shrieked. The battle erupted in chaos. Dante met Kale head-on as the beta, still partially under Serafina's influence, attacked with brutal efficiency. They'd trained together for years, knew each other's moves like breathing. It made the fight visceral, tragic. Fight it, Kale. Dante blocked a strike aimed at his throat. You're stronger than her magic. Can't, Kale's face twisted with effort. She's in my head. A witch lunged at Elara with curved daggers. Elara dodged, barely, and slashed with her spelled blade. The witch screamed as the magic cut through her shields, but 3 more took her place. Elara was dying, exhausted, running on nothing but desperation. But she'd survived 5 years of a slow death. She could survive 5 more minutes. She had to. A witch's spell caught her in the side, burning through her cloak. Elara went down hard, rolling to avoid another blast. Her vision blurred. The silver poisoning was spreading again, her brief surge of adrenaline fading fast. Across the room, Dante and Kale were locked in combat. Blood streaked both their faces. The black veins on Dante's skin pulsed darker with every second, the curse fighting his lucidity, trying to drag him back into beast form. They were losing. Stop. Serafina's voice cut through the chaos like a blade. Everything froze. The witches stopped mid-spell. Kale collapsed, clutching his head. Even Dante staggered, the alpha command in her voice affecting him despite his resistance. Serafina stood on her platform, the pendant blazing so bright it hurt to look at. The stolen life force swirled around her in ribbons of light, feeding into her body. She was already beginning her ascension. I tried to make this quick, Serafina said. Her voice echoed with unnatural power. But you always were stubborn, Dante. So let me paint you a picture of how completely you've lost. She descended the platform slowly, deliberately. The council members remained frozen, witnesses to her triumph. I loved you, Serafina continued. Her beautiful face twisted with old bitterness. From the moment I saw you, I knew you were meant to be mine. But your father had already arranged your future, a political marriage to some pathetic moonstone seer to secure peace. You poisoned me, Dante said. His voice was rough with pain and rage. Love potions. Mind control. I enhanced what was already there. Serafina smiled. You did love me, Dante. In your way. But it wasn't enough. You had a duty to marry her. She pointed at Elara with contempt. That weak, sniveling girl who looked at you with those pitiful doe eyes. Elara tried to stand. A witch's boot pressed her down. So I made a deal with the Shadow Coven, Serafina continued. Fake my death. Make it look like the Moonstones orchestrated it. Force you into a hatred so deep you'd reject your true mate bond. She laughed, the sound wrong and hollow. And you fell for it beautifully. The curse, Elara gasped. Yes. Serafina's eyes gleamed. The widow's curse. Cast on your wedding night while Dante lay broken with grief. Every night he rejected you, he fed my power. Every tear you cried strengthened my spell. For 5 years, you've been killing each other while I grew strong enough to take everything. She spread her arms, the pendant pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. Now I'll drain what's left of you both. Consume your alpha power, Dante. Use the rejected queen's blood to complete my ascension. And I'll rule this kingdom as the god I was always meant to be. You're insane, Dante said. I'm victorious. Serafina began to chant. The air thickened with dark magic. The pendant flared brighter. The stolen life force accelerated its orbit around her, moving faster, glowing brighter. The ritual was building to its crescendo. Dante. Elara's voice cut through the chanting. The mate bond. Accept it. Fully. He looked at her, understanding dawning in his eyes. That will transfer your death sentence to me. The curse is designed to kill the rejected mate. If I accept the bond now, you'll die instead of me, Elara finished. I know. Then I won't do it. You have to. Tears streamed down Elara's face. It's the only way to break her hold on you. The only way to stop the transformation. I don't care. Dante shoved away from Kale, stumbling toward her. The black veins covered half his face now. I won't save myself by killing you. Dante, please. No. He dropped to his knees before her. The throne room fell silent except for Serafina's chanting. Dante looked up at Elara with eyes that held 5 years of regret, of love finally admitted, of everything they'd lost and everything they'd never have. For 5 years, I was too blind, too broken, too proud, he said. His voice cracked. I rejected the greatest gift the moon goddess ever gave me. I don't deserve you, Elara. I don't deserve your forgiveness. But I'm begging you, on my knees, let me claim you as my wife, my mate, my queen. Elara's heart shattered. Let me die for you, Dante continued, the way you've been dying for me. No. Elara cupped his face in her hands. I won't let you die for my mistakes. There were no mistakes. Only mine. Listen to me. Elara's voice steadied with sudden clarity. I've been using my seer magic to reverse engineer the curse. I know how it works now. The pendant is the anchor. If I can reach it, if I can destroy it, the curse breaks completely. No more death sentence. No more transformation. Hope flickered in Dante's eyes. Can you reach it? If you distract her. Elara looked past him to where Seraphina stood chanting, lost in her ritual. I need 30 seconds. Maybe less. You're too weak. I'm also the only chance we have. Elara stood, using the last of her strength. Trust me, Dante. One last time. He rose with her, and for a moment they stood together, two people who'd loved each other wrong for 5 years, finally united in purpose. Together? Dante asked. Together, Elara confirmed. Dante turned and roared, a sound of pure alpha dominance that shook the foundations of the castle. The witches stumbled. Seraphina's chanting faltered. And Elara ran. She was dying, exhausted, barely able to breathe. But she ran faster than she'd ever run, spelled blade in hand, aimed straight for Seraphina's throat. The witch queen saw her coming. Her eyes widened. She raised her hand to blast Elara with magic. Dante crashed into her from the side. They went down in a tangle of limbs and fury, Dante fighting with everything he had to keep Seraphina distracted. The pendant swung free on its chain, blazing with power. Elara leaped, blade extended. Her fingers closed around the crystal. Seraphina screamed. She flung her hand out, and dark magic exploded from her palm in a concentrated blast of pure destruction. It caught Elara square in the chest. The world went white with pain. Elara felt herself flying backward, felt bones crack, felt blood explode from her mouth. She hit the far wall with enough force to shatter stone. The spelled blade clattered from her hand. She'd failed. She'd been so close, and she'd failed. Elara. Dante's roar was anguish and rage and love all combined into one sound. Something inside him broke, not the curse, but every wall he'd built, every defense, every moment of rejection. The mate bond snapped into place. Not partially. Not halfway. Completely. 5 years of denied connection, of suppressed recognition, of love refused, all of it slammed together in a single explosive moment. Golden light erupted from Dante's chest, from Elara's broken body, connecting them with a thread that blazed like the sun. The true mate bond. Finally accepted. Finally whole. Dante shifted. But it wasn't the cursed beast. It was his true form, a massive silver wolf with eyes of pure gold, every inch of him radiating alpha power. The black veins tried to spread, tried to corrupt, but the mate bond burned them away like mist in sunlight. Seraphina staggered back, her ritual disrupted. No. No. This isn't possible. Her pendant cracked. Just a hairline fracture, but enough. The stolen life force orbiting her flickered, unstable. You can't, Seraphina's voice rose to a shriek. I planned everything. I controlled everything. You're supposed to die. But Dante was already moving. His massive wolf form leaped, jaws closing around the pendant's chain. And he tore it from her throat. The pendant shattered on the stone floor. Seraphina's scream was inhuman. The stolen life force exploded outward, no longer contained, seeking its original owners. The dark magic swirling around her turned inward, consuming instead of empowering. No. Seraphina clawed at the air, trying to hold on to the power. I won't, I can't. Her body began to crack like porcelain, light bleeding through the fissures. The curse was breaking. And it was taking her with it. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 7. The mate bond's power detonated like a star-going supernova. Golden light exploded outward from Dante and Elara in a shockwave of pure, ancient magic. It rolled through the throne room like a tidal wave, shattering every dark spell in its path. The witches screamed as their connection to Seraphina severed. They collapsed, powerless. Kale dropped to his knees, gasping as the mind control shattered. His eyes cleared fully for the first time in months. What did I? The council members stumbled, blinking in confusion as the enchantment lifted. And the black veins on Dante's wolf form began to recede. Slowly at first, then faster, the curse burning away like frost under sunlight. The mate bond was stronger than Seraphina's darkest magic. Stronger than 5 years of rejection. Stronger than death itself. Dante shifted back to human form, standing naked and whole in the center of the throne room. Not a single black vein remained on his skin. He was free. But Seraphina was still screaming. No. She clutched at the shattered pieces of her pendant, trying desperately to hold them together. I won't lose. I can't lose. Her beautiful facade was cracking, literally. Fissures spread across her porcelain skin, light bleeding through like she was breaking from the inside out. It's over, Seraphina, Dante said. His voice carried absolute alpha authority now, the curse's interference gone. You've lost. Over? Seraphina's laugh was unhinged. You think destroying one pendant ends this? I've spent 5 years gathering power. I've consumed life forces, made pacts with ancient darkness. I am beyond your pathetic mate bond. She threw back her head and screamed words in a language that predated humanity. The shadows answered. Dark magic erupted from the floor, from the walls, from every corner where light didn't reach. It poured into Seraphina's breaking body, filling the cracks, transforming her into something else. Something monstrous. Her skin split and fell away like a shed chrysalis. Beneath was rot, centuries-old decay held together by pure malice. Her beautiful face melted, revealing a skull with eyes like burning coals. Her body elongated, twisted, became something between corpse and demon. Elara had seen this form in her seer visions. But seeing it in reality was different. This was what Seraphina truly was. What she'd always been beneath the glamours and love potions. A dead thing that refused to stay dead, animated by jealousy and dark magic. You want to see the real me? Seraphina's voice was layered now, multiple tones speaking as one. I died 5 years ago, Dante. Really died. But I loved you so much, hated her so much, that I made a deal with the shadow realm itself. I came back wrong. Hungry. And I've been feeding ever since. She lunged with inhuman speed. Dante met her head-on. The collision shook the throne room. Dante fought in his human form but with all his alpha strength unleashed, no longer hindered by curse or hesitation. He was magnificent, brutal, unstoppable. But Seraphina was no longer bound by physical limitations. She moved like smoke, reformed when he landed blows, her clawed hands leaving deep gouges in his skin. I could have made you immortal, she shrieked, wrapping shadow tendrils around his throat. I could have made you a god. We could have ruled forever. I don't want forever, Dante choked out. He grabbed the tendrils and tore them apart with raw strength. I just want her. Across the room, Elara struggled to her feet. Every bone in her body felt broken. Blood soaked her dress from a dozen wounds. The silver poisoning had spread to her heart, she could feel it squeezing with each beat. The life force she'd given to break Dante's curse had left her a hollow shell. She was dying. Minutes, maybe seconds left. But she still had her seer magic. One last vision to give. Elara reached deep, past the pain, past the dying mate bond, into the well of power that had always defined her. She pulled every scrap of magic she had left and focused it into a single purpose. Revelation. Look at her. Elara's voice rang out, amplified by magic. See what she really is. Her seer power exploded outward, stripping away every illusion, every shadow, every lie. The council members gasped in horror as they finally saw Seraphina's true form in all its rotting glory. The beautiful woman they'd been ready to crown was a corpse demon held together by stolen life and dark pacts. "See the monster you almost gave your kingdom to," Elara continued, her voice weakening. "See what she's done. Who she's killed. The lives she's consumed." The visions flooded the room, images of Seraphina murdering Vivian, draining pack members in the night, orchestrating her own death to frame the moonstones. 5 years of manipulation and death laid bare. "No." Seraphina turned on Elara with pure hatred. "You sanctimonious little." Dante slammed into her from behind, his hands closing around her skeletal throat. "She's mine," he growled. "And you don't touch her. Ever again." They fought with savage intensity. Dante had pure alpha strength, but Seraphina had shadow magic. She transformed into mist and reformed behind him, claws aimed at his spine. He spun and caught her wrist, slamming her into the ground hard enough to crack stone. "Elara," he called out. "The pendant pieces. Can you?" "On it," Elara gasped. She stumbled forward, vision swimming, and dropped to her knees beside the shattered crystal. The pieces still pulsed with residual magic, the anchor wasn't fully destroyed yet. That's why Seraphina was still holding form. Elara's hands closed around the largest shard. Seraphina's scream was immediate. "Don't you dare." She tried to break away from Dante, but he held her fast. His eyes met Elara's across the blood-soaked throne room. "Together," he said. "Together," she agreed. Dante forced Seraphina down, using every ounce of his alpha strength to pin the thrashing demon corpse. His muscles strained, his hands bled where her shadows cut him, but he didn't let go. "You chose wrong, Dante." Seraphina shrieked. "I could have made you a god." "I'd rather be human with her," Dante said, "than a god alone." Elara crushed the crystal shard in her fist. The magic detonated. Seraphina's scream was the sound of a soul being torn from reality. Her corpse form began to disintegrate, shadows peeling away, rot turning to dust, the stolen life forces escaping in streams of light that shot through the ceiling toward their rightful rest. "This isn't, you can't, I won't." But she was already gone. The shadows dispersed. The demon faded. And finally, 5 years after she'd first died, Seraphina was truly, finally dead. Nothing remained but dust on the throne room floor. Silence fell. Dante stood alone in the center of the room, breathing hard, covered in blood and wounds. The council members stared in horror at what they'd almost done, what they'd almost crowned. Kale crawled forward, his face ravaged with guilt. "Dante. I'm so sorry. I couldn't. I know." Dante's voice was rough but steady. He offered his hand to his beta, his best friend. "She controlled you. It wasn't your fault. I should have been stronger. You're here now. That's what matters." Dante pulled Kale to his feet, then addressed the council. "Seraphina is dead. The curse is broken. The kingdom is." He stopped. Turned. Elara had collapsed. "No." Dante was across the room in seconds, dropping to his knees beside her. Elara lay in a spreading pool of blood, her skin gray, her breathing shallow. The mate bond pulsed between them, complete but fading fast. "No, no, no." Dante gathered her into his arms. "We won, Elara. We won. You have to stay with me." Elara's eyes fluttered open. She smiled, actually smiled, despite the pain. 5 years I waited to hear you say my name like that," she whispered. "Don't." Tears streamed down Dante's face. "Don't you dare say goodbye. We just found each other. We just." "Dante." Elara touched his face with trembling fingers. "It's okay. The curse is broken. The kingdom is safe. You're free. I don't want to be free without you. You have to be." Her breathing was getting shallower. Promise me you'll be the king I always knew you could be. Promise me. Her eyes closed. Her hand fell. Her heart stopped. The mate bond went silent. Elara? Dante's voice cracked. Elara. He pressed his ear to her chest. Nothing. No heartbeat. No breath. The woman who'd loved him through 5 years of cruelty, who'd saved him from himself, who'd given everything to break a curse he'd been too blind to see, she was gone. No. Dante threw back his head. No. His howl was anguish-made sound. It echoed through the castle, through the kingdom, a cry of grief so profound that wolves for miles around felt it in their bones. He clutched Elara's lifeless body and howled to the blood moon rising in the sky beyond the shattered windows. Moon goddess, he screamed. Please. I'll give anything. Everything. Take my life instead. Take my power. Just bring her back. Please. The council watched in horrified silence. Kale wept openly. No one had ever seen their Alpha King break like this. Dante pressed his forehead to Elara's. I love you. I'm sorry I never said it when you could hear me. I'm sorry I wasted 5 years. I'm sorry for everything. Please come back. Please. I can't do this without you. Silence. Then light. Blinding, silver light descended from the blood moon itself. It poured through the windows like liquid starlight, filling the throne room with radiance so pure it hurt to look at. Everyone fell to their knees instinctively. This was power beyond Alpha, beyond magic, beyond mortal comprehension. The light coalesced into a form, a woman made of moonbeams and ancient grace. She had no distinct features, but her presence was unmistakable. The moon goddess herself had descended. You have passed the test, my children, her voice resonated through every soul present. Not angry. Not cruel. Simply, knowing. Dante looked up, still cradling Elara's body. Test. This was a test. Every love worth having is tested, the goddess replied. Elara proved her devotion through 5 years of rejection. You proved yours by finally seeing past your hatred. Together, you broke a curse that should have been unbreakable. Together, you saved your kingdom from darkness. Then save her, Dante begged. Please. She's earned it. She's earned everything. The moon goddess knelt beside them, her light encompassing Elara's still form. She has indeed, the goddess said softly. And she placed her hand on Elara's heart. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 8, Claimed. The moon goddess's hand glowed silver against Elara's still chest. Dante held his breath, his heart suspended between hope and despair. The entire throne room watched in reverent silence as their deity knelt among the blood and broken stone. Elara Moonstone, the goddess spoke, her voice like wine through ancient trees. You have proven yourself worthy. You loved without condition, sacrificed without hesitation, and fought for truth against darkness when the world refused to see. You are everything a queen should be. Light poured from her palm into Elara's body, not harsh, but gentle, like dawn breaking after the longest night. The silver poisoning began to recede, black veins fading to gray, then pink, then healthy tan. Broken bones knit together. Torn flesh mended. The life force Elara had given away was restored, flowing back into her like a river returning to its source. The goddess turned her luminous gaze to Dante. Dante Blackthorn, she said, and he felt the weight of divine judgment. You have learned the hardest lesson, that pride and hatred destroy, but love and humility redeem. You were given a precious gift and you scorned it. You caused suffering to one who deserved only devotion. But in the end, you chose correctly. You chose love over power, sacrifice over survival. I chose too late, Dante said, his voice breaking. You chose when it mattered most. The goddess's tone softened. That is what makes you worthy to lead. A king who knows the cost of his mistakes will never make them again. She removed her hand from Elara's chest. And Elara gasped. Her eyes flew open, bright, clear, alive. She drew in a shuddering breath, then another, her heart thundering back to life beneath Dante's palm. Dante, she whispered. He couldn't speak. Could only hold her tighter, his tears falling onto her face as 5 years of grief and guilt and love finally broke free. You're alive, he managed. You're alive. Apparently. Elara's voice was weak but held that familiar spark. Though I feel like I was hit by a... Dante kissed her. Not gentle. Not careful. 5 years of longing poured into that kiss, every moment of rejection he wanted to take back, every cruel word he wished he could erase, every night he'd spent with the wrong woman while his true mates suffered alone. Elara kissed him back with equal desperation. Her fingers tangled in his hair, pulling him closer. 5 years of loving a man who wouldn't love her finally answered. The mate bond exploded between them. Not the painful, incomplete thing that had been killing them. This was the bond as it was meant to be, golden and glorious and complete. It wrapped around them like sunlight, visible to everyone watching, connecting their souls in a way that could never be broken again. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Dante pressed his forehead to hers. I love you, he said. I've loved you since the moment I was too stupid to realize it. I love you for surviving me. For saving me. For being stronger than I ever deserved. I know, Elara whispered. Fresh tears streamed down her face, happy ones this time. I felt it every day in the pain and every night in the emptiness. I felt it when you hated me, because the bond knew what you refused to see. I was a fool. You were cursed. And proud. And grieving. Elara touched his face gently. But you're here now. That's what matters. The moon goddess stood, her form beginning to fade. Love well, my children, she said. You have earned your happiness. Do not waste it. The light dissipated, and she was gone. Silence held for 3 heartbeats. Then the throne room erupted. Kale was the first to reach them, tears streaming down his face. Elara. I'm so sorry. Everything I did. Wasn't your fault, Elara said firmly. She was still weak, but she managed to touch his hand. You were under her control. You helped us when it mattered. I'll spend the rest of my life making it right. We know, Dante said. He stood, pulling Elara up with him, keeping her steady. And we'll need you. The kingdom needs rebuilding. The council members approached hesitantly, shame written across every face. Your Majesty, Alpha Gren said, his voice thick. We failed you. We failed Queen Elara. We believed Seraphina's lies, condemned an innocent woman. You were under a powerful enchantment, Dante interrupted. His voice carried alpha authority, but also understanding. Seraphina fooled me for years. I can hardly blame you for weeks. But we should have seen. What you should do now, Elara said quietly, is help us heal. The kingdom has been divided by lies and dark magic. We need unity. We need to rebuild trust. She swayed slightly, and Dante caught her immediately. But first, he said, my queen needs rest. We'll address the kingdom tomorrow. No one argued. The Alpha King, curse-free and whole, carried his mate from the throne room while the council watched in awed silence. The next morning, Dante called the entire kingdom to the castle courtyard. Thousands gathered, pack members, servants, nobles, common folk. Everyone who'd witnessed 5 years of a rejected queen now stood to see what would happen next. Elara stood beside Dante on the balcony, dressed in silver and moonlight blue. She was still weak, still recovering, but she stood tall. Proud. A queen in truth. Dante took her hand and addressed his people. For 5 years, his voice carried across the crowd, I dishonored the woman standing beside me. The moon goddess herself chose Elara as my mate, and I rejected that gift. I allowed hatred and pride to blind me to the truth. I caused suffering to someone who deserved only love. The crowd was silent, riveted. I cannot undo those 5 years, Dante continued. I cannot erase the pain I caused. But I can stand before you now and declare the truth. This woman is my wife, my mate, my queen. She saved me from a curse I was too blind to see. She saved this kingdom from darkness. She is stronger, wiser, and more worthy of your loyalty than I have ever been. He turned to Elara, holding a crown, not the one she'd worn before, simple and forgotten. This was the true queen's crown, silver woven with moonstones, forged in the castle's oldest fires. Elara Moonstone Blackthorn, Dante said, his voice steady but emotional. I crown you queen of the Northern Territories. Not as a political arrangement, but as my true mate and equal ruler. He placed the crown on her head. The crowd erupted. Not with polite applause, but with genuine joy. Long live Queen Elara. Long live the Queen. Elara looked out at the people she'd healed, helped, protected for 5 years while they'd ignored her. Now they saw her. Really saw her. She smiled. Dante kissed her hand, then her lips, in front of the entire kingdom. And the cheers grew louder. Rebuilding took months. They worked together, Dante with his alpha authority and strategic mind, Elara with her seer abilities and healing magic. The kingdom slowly healed from 5 years of dark magic's influence. Elara established a network of healers, trained seers to identify dark magic before it could take root. Dante reformed the council, removing those too corrupt to redeem, elevating new voices. Kale became their most trusted advisor, his guilt transforming into fierce loyalty. The East Wing was demolished entirely. Elara moved into the Queen's chambers, their chambers now, where she belonged. And slowly, carefully, they learned each other. Not the hatred-soaked version they'd known for 5 years, but the truth underneath. Dante discovered Elara's quiet humor, her love of old books, the way she sang when she thought no one was listening. Elara learned that Dante was gentle when he allowed himself to be, that he carried guilt like armor, that he gave his loyalty completely once earned. They were healing. Together. 6 months after Serafina's death, on the anniversary of their true claiming, Dante found Elara in the gardens. She stood among the moonflowers, one hand resting on her belly. The small swell there was new, precious. Twins, she said when she sensed him approach. The healer confirmed it this morning. Dante's breath caught. Twins? A boy and a girl, if the seer magic is accurate. Elara turned, her smile radiant. We're going to have children, Dante. He crossed the distance between them in 3 strides and pulled her into his arms, careful of her growing belly. I don't deserve this, he said into her hair. I don't deserve you, or them, or any of this happiness. Good thing it's not about deserving. Elara pulled back to look at him. It's about choosing. Every day, we choose each other. That's enough. That night, in their chambers, Dante traced the line of her jaw with reverent fingers. Are you sure? He asked. They'd been intimate before, slowly rebuilding physical trust. But tonight felt different. Sacred. After everything I put you through. Dante. Elara cupped his face. I've waited 5 years for you to beg to claim me. Now I'm the one begging. Claim me. Completely. No more hesitation. No more guilt. Just us. So he did. He claimed his wife, his mate, his queen with a gentleness that erased 5 years of cruelty. He showed her with every touch, every kiss, every whispered word what he should have shown her on their wedding night. That she was cherished. Wanted. Loved beyond measure. And when they lay tangled together afterward, the mate bond humming contentedly between them, Dante understood what the moon goddess had meant. This was the test's reward. Not power or glory, but this, quiet moments with the person who knew your worst and loved you anyway. Epilogue. They visited the river where Serafina had staged her death. It was a clear autumn day, 6 months after the twins were born. Elara carried flowers, white roses for peace, not mourning. "Why here?" Dante asked, watching his mate place the flowers on the water. "Because she was a victim too, in her way," Elara said. "The dark magic twisted her. Made her into something monstrous. I pity what she could have been. You're more generous than I am. I can afford to be generous. I won." Elara smiled at him, the twins sleeping peacefully in their basket nearby. "I got everything. She got nothing but dust." Dante pulled her close, one hand resting on the small of her back. "I'm grateful for the darkness. It taught me to cherish the light." Poetic. Elara laughed. "But true. No more waiting, Dante. No more rejection. Just us." "Just us," he agreed. They stood by the river as the sun set, watching the white roses float downstream. Behind them, their children stirred, a boy with his father's dark hair, a girl with her mother's seer eyes. The kingdom was at peace. The curse was broken. And the Alpha King who had refused to touch his wife for 5 years now couldn't bear to be apart from her for 5 minutes. Some love stories begin with a kiss. Theirs began with rejection, survived through suffering, and triumphed through sacrifice. But it ended, as all true love stories should, with forever. I know you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Do well to drop your thoughts in the comments section below and share this video to family and friends. The end.